don't know who had we'd be watching a second Star Wars series in 2024 on their Winter Wolf's Den bingo card, but who the fuck? Who the fuck? We're about to do Skeleton Crew. With no further ado, I'm going to bring Kingsy in so we can talk the first two episodes that just came out. What was it? What's Wednesday today? Or they just came out yesterday? I don't even remember when, dude. To be honest with you, it's all a blur, man. It's all a blur.
It's all a blur.
Well, like I said in the intro, man, I mean, maybe you're a little less shocked than I am just because, you're a little bit more willing to go back to the well a couple of times and give them multiple shots. I mean, did you think we were going to watch Skeleton Crew like 6 months ago when we knew this was the last thing of the year for Disney? I kind of was like, nah, I'm probably not going to watch that.
I thought we were, just because, that's what we do.
Yeah, true. But if I said tomorrow, surprise, I have the whole box set of Ahsoka season 2, are you jumping right in for the binge watch? Are you going to do it?
No, we're good.
That's what I'm saying, man. But I'm surprised that we actually did this on time. That we managed to watch 2 episodes in the same week. I didn't know if I'd be able to stomach that much Star Wars given the current state of the franchise and whatnot. But I'll start us off by saying pleasantly surprised. I'll give it a pleasantly surprised for right now for Skeleton Crew. What did you think just initially before we even get into broad specifics?
I thought it was fun. I didn't think anything too bad about it. I think it stuck well to what the story they're trying to tell. They're not trying to, throw too many factors into it. They're keeping it, they're streamlining it pretty much, but in a fun way. Like, it throws you back to the 80s movies like Explorers, and, everyone said this is Goonies in space.
Goonies. Yeah.
But it's more But with the Goonie comparison, I could almost see it if they took off in One-Eye Willie's ship and then sailed the high seas. So,
well, we don't know we'll talk about it. We don't know whose ship they're on. It could be One-Eye Willie's ship. There's a couple of dead skeletons all up in that piece, all stabbed through Goonies style. I mean, the notations were there. The inspiration from the Goonies was absolutely in full effect in a bunch of those scenes. But, the word that I keep hearing, the specific adjective that I keep hearing to kind of describe this show so far through 2 episodes of 8, right?
Of 8, yes. Episodes? We have 6 more weeks of this.
I see that. And I knew there was an overlap between this and Dune Prophecy. And I was pretty sure Prophecy was the shorter show that only has 6 episodes and this has 8, but I just want to be sure. But the word I keep hearing about for this is inoffensive. And I'm like, it kind of makes me sad that that's the high bar, that that's the praise that people would be, oh, it was inoffensive, so it was fun. Okay, is that really where should we be shooting that low? Should we not be aiming higher? Should we not be setting the bar higher? Then, oh, it was okay, it was fun. It was mostly inoffensive, so I'll watch more. It's Star Wars, man. Isn't that supposed to just be great? Are we on the way back to that a little bit? I don't know.
I don't think it was the non-offensive part. I mean, it was, but I mean, I don't think that's the reason why. I think it was just fun. It was Quinn's
flat out.
It's just like what you expected from a show that's centered around kids that find a rogue. I won't say Jedi. I'll say Force user, because we don't know his backstory.
Yeah, yeah, that's very much up for debate at this point. And I think, to the show's credit, even though it is written probably for that same age bracket, I would say, as the Percy Jackson show. So maybe I could put you on the spot. Could you? What is the rating, the age rating for this show, the restriction or whatever they call it through the MPAA or through Disney Plus? Is it technically YA8 or something like that?
I didn't even look for that. I didn't even think about checking that out.
I'm just curious, because I think that I think this show is trying to exist in a really weird in-between kind of space. I have a very specific reason for asking, because the first 5 minutes felt like a legit Star Wars movie. Right off the bat, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. I mean, sure, it was a knockoff in the same way Force Awakens was a knockoff of the entirety of A New Hope. The first 5 minutes of episode 1 here are Princess Leia's ship getting taken over by Vader Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
we get the Force breach, the boarding, the shootout in the kill box of a hallway, the pirates eventually getting the upper hand. and then Captain Silvo basically Vadering the captain of the ship to the point where he goes, if you don't have any money, why is the vault, magnetically sealed? If there's no captain on the ship, where's the main ambassador? Like, remember that whole thing with Vader and in A New Hope? Only the dialogue was all there, and then instead of a choke, he punches them, lays them out. But do you have a rating real quick? Did you come across that?
I'm not seeing one anywhere. So
really on the Disney app, I'm just gonna let me see if I can dial that up on my phone real quick. Why TVPG?
TVPG.
That's on the app. No, it wasn't like looking around online. All right. So I just checked, and Skeleton has a TV PG rating, which I think is interesting because that first scene we were talking about legit is, kind of suitable for general audiences, but definitely not for little kids. There's some laser blasts. There's a shanking going on in the background. There's some legitimate like hand-to-hand violence that's going on. It's all bloodless for the most part. I didn't see anything crazy, but it looks like a Star Wars movie. But then the tone completely shifts, and it cruises right into that Percy Jackson kind of space. And it's very goofy, whimsical, like you said. It's kids in school doing kids stuff, having those kind of interactions with authority figures that you'd imagine little kids. How old do you think these kids are? Like 10? Something no older than 12? We get 10 to 12? Something like that?
Yeah, they're between the ages of like 12 and 14.
You think they get that old? You think Fern, like the leader of the crew,
like I think
the oldest?
I think Fern's the oldest, and she's right around 14.
She's preteen or 14. She's preteen, 13. She's probably early teen. Okay. I guess I could see that. But the two boys, there's no shot those kids are 13, 14 years old. No shot. Especially the little kid that plays Wim. Like, he's got to be no older than 12. So they put us right in that frame of thinking. We see, because he's still playing with toys. He's playing with the little, Jedi, Sith figurines. He's got the tablet that's got all the old lore books on old Jedi holograms, holocrons, things like that. I know what they're going for. They're trying to capture our nostalgia with the opening to the show. Our nostalgia, not just his.
Yeah, and it also plays into the reveal kind of in the second episode of kind of the story of where they're living. So I think that was it's well played out, I believe. Like, you don't know too much. They're not dumping you with a whole bunch of exposition. Like, you could tell based on the father, he's like he's absent, he's a working father, single father, taking care of his kid, drops money off, that's your lunch money for the week. I won't be around because I got was it review this week,
supervisory review. You know what actually that part reminded me of? Might be a D cup for you if you haven't thought about this in a while. It was very similar to the beginning of the Neverending Story. That's the beginning where Bastion's putting his own breakfast together. Dad's got the briefcase. He's heading out the door. Mom's not around. She's passed away. I think we might get that revealed in this show for Little Wim. Maybe Mom passed away and she's not just somewhere else, and Dad at some point, he didn't give him the full on, get your head out of the clouds moment from a Neverending Story, but he's like, don't be late for school. You have to study hard. And then, of course, when Wim screws up and Daddy has to save him from detention kind of thing, he's like, take your ass home and study. Like, this shit's important, son. Like, go get it done. So we get that whole Dad bearing down because Dad wants you to be successful kind of thing. So I noticed some shades there. I think, like we were talking pre-show and even just weeks ago, this show is going to draw probably from about 50 different things that have all come up through the 80s and 90s to create that nostalgic, family-friendly, not quite coming-of-age tale. I'd be very surprised if it delved into that, because the Wim character is so young. Like, I don't think we're going to see a full-on crush scene between him and Fern. I think that'd be really weird, given his age. Like, if he was a little bit older, like Mikey from the Goonies, there might be a kiss somewhere near the end, like how Stranger Things handled it. But I think that'd be wildly inappropriate here. Wildly.
I think it's going to be more of a hero worship type thing for him. The other characters I think they're going to be along for the ride. You're going to have like Neil. He's going to become less kiddie and like more going into that teen type setting. Just like you saw that, he's I would say the youngest based on the way he acts out of all of them, but he's also the brainiac of of them. Net's the
most uptight one. Andy's the most uptight one. So let's not do that and get in trouble, guys. Yeah.
And then you have KB, who's your tech person who knows like all the all the computers. Even though she's nerdy, she's still kind of on the cool side of it because she does all the fun stuff with Fern. Fern's the rebellious teenager, early teenager. So, you have a good dynamic of kids in this. So
they laid it on pretty good between the two, the battle of the young sexes in there as well. Like there was very much a boys versus girls thing that they kind of get into in episode 2, which I thought was, again, age appropriate and kind of laughably adorable for the kids that they had together there. For me, I don't see enough out of KB yet. It's only been 2 episodes into it. Again, let me get this right out of the way. It's falling as as what's his name from The Princess Bride would say. They're falling for another classic blunder in this show, right? Vizzini, right? They're doing the pacing thing again, dude. This show does not need to be 8 episodes. That's 49 minutes, 22 minutes, 33, 53, an hour and a half. You know what, dude? We could have probably made this into a 2-hour movie. I'll say it now. I probably don't need 8 episodes of this show. I wonder why. You remember back in the 80s and 90s, direct-to-video was a move. It made money. You know what I mean? Why are they not just cranking these kind of things out in a direct-to-digital format? You know what I mean? Because people don't buy like they used to, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
They don't buy like they used to. Streaming's a thing, and more people watch streaming shows than they do streaming movies.
Which I get, but so let's say this, right? If they told you this show cost them $50 million an episode, say, right? Just a nice fair number, right? If there's 8 episodes, that's $400 million. Okay, that's the whole budget for Captain America: Brave New World with all its reshoots. You mean to tell me I couldn't have made this concept into a 2-hour movie for half that budget or less? I think we could. I honestly think we could do that. Star Wars or not, I think we could get it done.
And I think they would have a bad theater turnout or even a streaming turnout for it.
Not to put it to theater, just put it on Disney Plus. Save yourself $200 million and just put it on Disney Plus as a Star Wars movie.
I don't think it's moving the needle. They want the people coming back and watching it. I
mean, that's true. Especially since we're getting the weekly. Yeah, maybe. But do you think they really ran those metrics and this is really moving the needle? You think people sign back up for Disney Plus to watch Skeleton Crew and not like a Skywalker proper kind of movie?
I don't think people are signing up for it. What I could say is that people are going to be pleasantly surprised when they come and watch it. Like, oh, they got this too. It's like an add-on thing that they find out. The hardcore Star Wars fans, I think, will enjoy this as well. I mean, you're in the Star Wars universe. You have starships. You have a force wielder, and you got aliens. Cool looking aliens too. I think they did really good on these aliens. The kid aliens were right on.
The only kid, I don't like the look of Neil. It looks a little too Party City for me. The uniform blue. Yeah, and I think it might be the hair. I think I needed more texture there as we don't really dive into the whole, I don't anyway. Yeah, the set design and the costume, that's more of a you thing. But for me, it just looked very like I could buy that costume for my kid's birthday party in a couple of weeks and wear it, and it would be kind of funny. I'm not size appropriate, of course. I'd be like the dad. It's too blue, it's too plasticky, but the grown-up aliens at the beginning in the pirate shootout, and then when we get to, I'm just going to call it Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean, know what I'm talking about. Yeah, right? It's basically Tortuga. And that was the other, when we were talking yesterday, I said we were talking about music connections, and I definitely heard Pirates of the Caribbean style music here in those sections, and I'm like, where's the fucking rum? Like, without a doubt, like they're
why is the Goonies rum gone?
Dude, it's always gone. Like, they sold me Goonies, but then they're like, all right, we're gonna scoop the pirates in here as well. But I definitely heard those notes over there. But the aliens anyway, and they had multiples because they had the guy that was cooking, the guy that was with him at the restaurant, the other 3 that were all like, oh my God, you got old Republic credits. You got the wolf guy. We got Urkel's character's kind of human with stuff glued on his face. Not impressive. But I saw enough cool aliens in masks that reminded me of the old cantina, and I was down for that.
Yeah, and it had the cantina type feel. I think that's what they're going for.
Had the vibe.
But at a spaceport type setting instead of just a cantina on a planet. I did like that they didn't go to another planet. I did like that aspect.
It shows it so far. Yep.
Yeah. They didn't
I'm
go
sure
to
we'll get there at some point.
Yeah. I
get
mean,
there at some.
these two episodes could have been one. I will agree with you there because they go hand in hand. I mean, it's pretty much chapter 1 through 3 introduction of characters.
Pretty much. So real quick, just so we can kind of just bang that out, we have Wim. He's clearly the lead. Young kid, hero worship, hero fantasy.
Yeah, head in the clouds.
Head in the clouds. Head in the clouds. Right. He gets asked in school, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, oh, I just want to help people. Like, I just want to really, I want to do right by people. And everybody's like, that's what security droids are for. And I'm like, okay, that's the problem with society right there.
Yeah.
And we got Neil, like we said, he's a little alien blue dude. I don't remember the race's name. It's the elephant looking one, again, from from Jabba's palace in the cantina playing the keyboard. He's more of the stick in the mud. He's cool. He's fun to be around. He also has the Jedi worship thing with Neil. They reenact a saber battle in the street, and then all like the cool girls make fun of them, like they're staring at him as the bus passes. That was kind of funny.
What was
okay,
that?
I get that. Like, I get that. That was all right. We get Fern. She's the older kid badass. She's got a dirt bike or a dirt hover bike. Rebel without a cause, skipping school, always in trouble. Mom is a senior administrator, as we find out. Comes to visit. The interesting conflict point there. Also laying the parental pressure on about going to school and being the best.
Top of the class.
Top of the class, right? KB, tech genius. Girl in chair, not in chair. That's basically her role. And Wim's dad, I guess, are pretty much that rounds out
the main cast.
And the pirate droid, Smee.
Smee.
SM-33. Sorry.
SM-33,
Smee, everybody. It's Smee. I figured it out. King Z didn't.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I thought he was a fun one-eye pirate. He has a ped.
Oh, dude, he absolutely was. Dude, best character on the show.
Yes,
best character on the show.
And it's by one of the great actors of Nick
I was
Frost.
Gonna say, dude, your boy Nick Frost does the voice. He delivers. Dude, I know you've played Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
the old
long
Star Wars, right? Do you remember the droid in that game, HK-47, calling all the humans meatbags? He's an assassin droid. Do you remember that character? He's like in your main crew. Like, I got shades of him in SM-33, but for kids. Like, he pushed it right up to the line of, oh, do you want me to throw him out the airlock, Captain? I'm like, dude, that's an 8-year-old. You can't just you can't just space an 8-year-old. You know what I mean? But so the dark humor was there, like, just perfectly dosed. So I did enjoy that character. Probably my favorite character on the show so far. Because I'm still out on Jude Law. We haven't seen enough of him yet to know.
I did like his character in the very beginning, because you have them taking over the ship. You have like the words on screen telling you that piracy has kind of grown since the collapse of the Empire, and the Republic hasn't really got their security up. Yeah. And then you see them like raiding a ship, and then they go into the vault, and like his whole talk, he has this big speech, and then it's like one credit. So you have the whole Jack Sparrow type
giant vault.
Giant vault, and it had one credit in there.
One.
So you have a Jack Sparrow type character with him.
Now, are we? I'm sure no one's going to care about spoilers. So Jude Law is Captain Sylvia, right? Like, is that the thing? Is that the angle there? That's like kind of a mystery, not really. He got his ass kicked when they opened that vault and there was no money in there. And I thought he was going to get some boss move done because he knows he's about to get his ass kicked, and he pulls a weapon and he looks like he's about to go to work, but it doesn't end well.
No. And then like his first mate takes over, which is the Wolf Man.
Wolf dude.
Yeah.
For funnies, I'm going to call him Teen Wolf. I don't know why. I'm going to call him Teen Wolf.
I think his name's Beef.
I'm calling him Teen Wolf. Sorry, I got Teen Wolf. I got Urkel. That's what I got. And if I could think of a funny Jude Law character name, I'd go with that. I'd call him Watson, I guess. That'd be kind of funny. So the show is simple, but you know what? I'm going to give it a lot of kudos for, in its simplicity, still keeping some of its cards a little close. Because we find out that the kids, of course, they were going to stumble upon the buried ship. That's the point of the show. I saw some people complaining like, oh, what are the odds he fell down the ravine and found a ship that was like a 6 inches under? I'm like, dude, do you want a show or not? You got to give them one suspension of disbelief so they can get the plot off the effing ground.
I mean,
like, cool your jets. It's not fire in space.
Any of those type of shows, they find like a hole in the ground and leads to a meteor that gives them superpowers.
Right, the magic lamp, the ring, the sword, and the stone. Whatever it is, you need one.
You need something,
or you don't have a show. He fell down the ravine, got a concussion, and died. The end. Credits. Like, that show sucks, you know. But they're playing with two mysteries. They haven't told you Silvio is Jude Law yet.
No.
Is he a Force user? Did he just have some pirate technology on him that let him get the key? Is this all a ruse? Don't know. But the more interesting mystery is where the kids are from. That, I think, is the big thing to talk about
the big reveal, because you see when they get there, they pay the ferryman with the credits he got for his lunch, and if you look at them, you do notice they look different than the credit that he held up as the pirate. Theirs is square or diamond shape, depending on how you hold it. I didn't see where the stamp was, but his was like long, slender rectangle shapes. So it wasn't the same type of credits. And but when he handed it to the ferryman looked at him, was like super happy and ran off.
Yep. Like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Because you overpaid. Like that one time I went to China and way overpaid. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Bad play, man.
And then when they're paying for their food, which Neil was like, no, don't, and he still cracks it open. They're ordering like, what do you have? We'll have what he's having. Worst thing you can ever say. Worst thing you can ever say.
Gross. Well, because we saw what happened in Spaceballs when hey, that's what I ordered, you know? Chessboard. Yeah, no, you don't do that. But so we see that they dose out that mystery in little bits because they ask someone for directions back to At-Atten, and they're like, where? And like, you know,
it started with SM-33, and they said, go back to At-Atten. He's like, thinking, he's like, go back to where you first thought. And that's when they had the whole rat in his eye. Yeah. And I think he ate his memory. Yeah. So you had to have a reason why he couldn't remember. And that rat was established earlier when you first see the bot too.
When he wakes up. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, before he wakes up, when they find the when he was deactivated.
That scene, right. Yep. When they find the ship. But they ask a couple of people about that, and then of course it's revealed that At-Atten's some legendary treasure planet like Pandora from Borderlands or something, and the kids are like, we live in like that suburb that looks like where like Winterwolf grew up and went to a big school or something. Like that's literally where they live, looks like. But when we were on their planet, anytime they had a sky shot, an aerial view, we saw what they call the barrier. So we know that there's an element of a cloaking tech, a shield, some kind of illusion generator or something that keeps them off the grid. And so I didn't get a chance to go back and listen, but when when the administrator was talking about, you know, the kids joining their great work and finding their purpose, that way they could all contribute to the great work, she never said New Republic.
No, she didn't.
I remember right. Aha. See, no, okay, so I astutely picked up on something for a change.
And that's why they're still using Old Republic currency, because they still believe the Old Republic. They're almost like they're sheltered.
Interesting.
Think like of M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. The kids don't know that there's a bigger world outside of their village.
Interesting. Dude, that's a great pickup. You know what I was kind of thinking, and you know what, maybe that's because the ship they found was the original ship the grown-ups took to get there, and then they scuttled it, and that's why it's only so far down. But then the grown-ups decided to do society village style, like you said, in the image of the Old Republic. I don't know. I was thinking more like, you know how like after like 10, 20, 30 years after World War II ended, we kept finding in certain areas of the South Pacific, they would come across Japanese soldiers who had been stranded after plane crashes or shipwrecks and didn't know the war was over.
Or they were in their caves and stuff like that.
Yes.
Well, so I mean, you have to think Andrew Jackson. Yeah, Andrew Jackson was famous for his Battle of New Orleans, which happened after the war and a peace treaty was signed, because communications was really slow getting down there.
Right. They didn't have fiber optic back then. It was a little laggy.
A little slow.
Latency was a little high. So there could be, but I think that makes for a compelling mystery on a kid's show. You know, it's probably not going to be, the reveal isn't going to be something that flattens you over, because it is written for like a younger audience. It's not going to be like Lost. Oh, we were dead and in hell the whole time. It was limbo. I don't think it's that. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be very straightforward when it's revealed, but I appreciate them perpetrating the mystery at least through 2 episodes. Unlike the Crapolite, which resolved the murder mystery in 15 seconds. oh shit, the one girl killed Darth Trinity. Oh, it wasn't her, it was her twin. And they all know it too. Why are we watching this? You know what I mean?
Mm.
This show, I think they're going to preserve that. They're going to probably move into a spot where Jude Law busts them out. They take the ship, obviously. And we skipped over most of the plot of how it got there, but the kids basically get to that base. They get captured after everybody sees they're like flush with gold, the old credits, thrown into custody. Jude Law happens to be in there. If he's not a Jedi, I don't know, or if he is a Jedi, I don't know why he didn't just force grab that key from across the room the entire time, or just force unlock
way
chains.
off. He had no way off the
Bro,
planet.
he's a pirate. He couldn't have got out of that cell and stolen a ship. He couldn't have taken a hostage and stolen a ship. Dude, come on. Now, this is a big thing I'm overlooking to make the show work. I already gave them the kids finding the ship. This is tough for me. This is hard. All right.
Yeah, this one I would play off is that he wanted a way off. He didn't want to fight. He did his ship and stuff like that. So
I'm just saying, if this was a rated M situation, I'm force unlocking these chains because they weren't like Jedi force dampening, chains or anything like that. They weren't like the other manacles Dresden has to wear. That's my Dresden reference. It wasn't like that. He could have unlocked that shit at any time and then Jedi mind trick somebody into giving him a ride. I'm just saying. But I think that's why
he's not a full Jedi. Maybe he just knows how to like move stuff. He doesn't know all the tricks and the trade.
Well, I heard somebody else mention it'd be a good idea if he is a pirate. These guys are notoriously tricky. Like, does he have a little gimmick on his wrist, a trinket that lets him just, move things? Like a little galactic maglev tech or something, And then he wouldn't have the mind trick and he'd need to hijack and steal a thing. Maybe he can't do that. But all in all, I mean, it's interesting enough and not too corny that I don't want to go back and watch episode 3. I'll say that.
I do have one more strike on that. They're pirates. Who you're going to take hostage? They don't care. They'll just tell them to take a spot.
Well, no, I mean, dude, if I took you hostage because it was your ship, you'd probably fly me out.
Yeah, but he is still a prisoner of another pirate who's controlling the port that has those big guns on the outside.
And that guy did control the cannons. That's right, because the question he asked was how do they fly in and bypass security, which is obviously because the SME bot on that ship had been there before.
And he has the codes. Ship. They're old, but they check out.
They check out. Damn it, I was going to say it. It's an old code, sir. It checks out. Nice. Yeah. So it's got a lot going for it as a kid's show. I think a lot of what I said last night about the pace with Dune Prophecy and not having a lot of runtime, this show falls into the same thing because it's going to average out to the same amount of screen time, I bet. And I wanted more. Again, I want more of that developmental stuff that has women as dad. I mean, they set that up pretty. I guess that's a nitpick because they really did. They laid it on. Dad's busy. It's not that he's abusive or neglectful. Like he's just doing his thing. Single dad. Here's your money. Go to school. Don't stay up too late. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's kind of tough. And they did develop women Neil pretty good. They're buddies. I buy that. I buy that pretty wholesale. So I guess that'll have to be enough, I guess. And going into episodes 3 to see what they do. But where do you think they go in episode 3? Like the kids are obviously they're gonna have to break Jude Law out. Is the whole episode just them trying to get to a ship, or do they get out quick and go somewhere and do something? What's good?
The first half is them trying to get out and get back to their ship. They get back to their ship. The first quarter will be them to find SM-33. Second is to get to the ship. And then they're going to be telling that we need to get back to our planet. And they're going to tell them what planet it is, but no one knows where it is. Well, he's going to be like, well, this is where we're going to have to go find out about this because I know a story at some point. Yeah. And then they're off to go find the star map that leads them to
oh my God, we're doing the MacGuffin thing.
Yeah,
we're gonna do.
They had to have an adventure.
Yeah, that's true, and I guess that's the kind of show that sets up for that. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, why wouldn't the guy that knows how to fly a ship just go back in and check the ship's logs and find out its point of origin and then just turn around?
It's more going to be a reverse Treasure Island type story.
True. Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit better if this worked a little bit more like Voyager. Where like Voyager on Star Trek went through like a temporal warp that just threw them across the galaxy to where they had never been before. But like this ship just flew them to a random place in hyperspace within the galaxy. Just, you know, hit the return key on the inboard navigation. It should probably just bring you home. You know, I don't know. Just saying. But
Maybe.
again, I guess you got to overlook some stuff. But I thought it was good. I'm pleasantly surprised. We'll see what happens in episode 3. We'll see if they go off the rails with any of the messaging, progressive politics stuff. I haven't heard anything either way. I know some people got review copies of the first 4 episodes, but they haven't really spilled any details that I've come across. So I'll hold out hope that it stays at least at this level, and then we get another Percy Jackson kind of show out of it, probably family friendly. You probably sit your kids down and watch it with them. Will it be Star Wars? Well, if it keeps the adventure and kind of the whimsy fun of like A New Hope and certain parts of the kid-friendlier elements of Return of the Jedi, probably be okay. But we'll see. Anything can go off the rails and anything can stick the landing. We'll just have to wait.
Yeah, so what I'd say is people have been calling for a live action Treasure Planet movie, and I think this is their attempt at it in the Star Wars universe, since they own that IP. The one thing that they can't do is go too far off the rails. As we talked on our live stream last night about Dune Prophecy, they've built the trust. HBO has built that trust, whereas like if they go a little bit off the rails, that they're going to pull it back in and land on there. Disney has destroyed that trust in their Disney Star Wars. So I believe if they go too far off the rails of what they've already established, then they're going to lose their audience quick. They're going to be quick to turn it off because they've destroyed that trust. And we don't believe that they'll bring it back in and stick that landing.
Solid point. Solid points. I guess the impetus is really on them to just shut up and deliver at this point for a couple of projects. And it's good, you know, because at the end of the day, it's going to take more than a TV show for Star Wars kids to write that particular ship. The kids at this point are not their core demographic audience. Largely, kids don't care about Star Wars. They're not buying toys. They're not dressing like these characters at Halloween or anything like that. It's generally guys in our bracket that have young kids that are turning them on to older Star Wars that we loved and not new stuff. So they need to nail this and impress me, and then impress me with Andor 2 and maybe, you know, the Grogu Mando movie, and then we can talk back on track. But dude, I think we covered Skeleton Crew episode 1 and 2 pretty good.
Yes,
go watch it, guys. I think you guys will enjoy it. If you got young kids, it's safe to watch. There's no language. There's minimal violence at the very beginning, and it's very old school Star Wars violence. You're not going to see any blood and guts, so you should be all good there. But we'll be back, guys. The episodes shift watch-wise, though. They were Monday this week, but they are Tuesday at 9:00 Eastern going forward. We're going to watch them that night, and we'll be posting these for Thursday. We can cut that out because this is recording and we're not live. But anyways, I guess I'll do the outro since we're recording. See you guys later.